Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. My name is Jason, and I have got my good buddy Hans from the Hans ETX YouTube channel. How are you, Hans?
Man, I might be in trouble because I just kicked my wife out of my recording studio, and the recording studio is actually our office. And when we built the house, it was basically a room that we turned into an office, and she occupies three corners and everything in the middle, and my recording studio is one corner. And I just kicked her out of here, so I might be in trouble.
You're probably going to be probably going to be sleeping in your truck tonight, but that's okay.
She's ready to. She's like, y'all need to get done doing this because we've got shows to watch. So her shows are more important than our podcast, I think.
Well,
in her world, it is.
I think that's exactly right. I think in my wife's world, it probably is too. But you know, hey,
no, everything's going good, man. I'm glad to be back for another episode, and both of us are wearing jackets right now. Yeah, you're wearing a fleece jacket.
I am.
Huh?
I'm wearing it. I came upstairs. I've got a little studio set up here, and I got up here and I'm like, it is freezing up here, and I'm not turning on the heater. So, yeah, you know that is. I know a lot of our hunting buddies to the north. We get a little cool down here, and they just shake their heads. I talked to a guy the other day. I don't remember which state, one of the Dakotas or somewhere, and he said it was like, 22 there or something. Like, you got to be kidding. Talked to a guy in Alaska last week, and he was talking about it being in the teens, and I'm like, yeah, well, we got down to 50, and we're all wearing coats.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I know we need the rain, but I'm just tired of walking outside and being cold and wet. So, hey, we have an exciting announcement right now. So if you listened last week, and if you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, you know that we have a giveaway that's been going on the last week. And just so you know, you can find us, again, if you missed it before, you can find us on Instagram at The Late Night Vision Show, the same thing on Facebook, and the same thing on YouTube, The Late Night Vision Show. So please go follow and subscribe. And as always, you can find me on YouTube at Hans ETX, and also Instagram, Hans ETX. And Jason, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well. You can just search for Outdoor Legacy or Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can always find me at outdoorlegacygear.com, or you can call me, which that's the best way to get a hold of me. You might have to leave me a message, especially this time of year, but I can call you back and spend some time and answer all your questions and really, help you if you're trying to decide what direction to go with the scope. And you can just call me at 877-350-1818. And also, don't forget, you can always email us at the show at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com. That's just a way to send us show suggestions or feedback, and you can call us and leave a voicemail. We won't be there to answer the phone and go straight to voicemail, but you can leave us any comments or suggestions. We might play it on the show. We won't air your last name, and we might edit it as needed. But that number is 903-833-4461, and we would love to hear back from y'all.
So that's we gave them a lot of places to go and a lot of numbers, but we appreciate you following and following the show. So last week, to recap, we had our first giveaway, Jason, very first one, $300 worth of gear and stuff that is thrown in an awesome tactical backpack. So run down everything that we're giving away, and then I'll announce the winner, because we just picked our winner. So
everything that we're giving away? Well, that's
no. Give us the highlights.
Let's see. I'm looking at some of it right here. We've got a tactical backpack. It's got a really awesome Outdoor Legacy Gear patch, brand new. Got that on there. We've got, electronic earmuffs, hearing protection. We've got flashlight, an Otis tactical cleaning kit. We've got, maybe a little emergency, like a kind of a little emergency kit to throw in your bag. I'm trying to think what else. I'm looking over here. There's like an AR-15 manual. There's an AR-15 magazine. There's a forward grip for an AR. There's a lot of stuff in here. And there's a lot of small things I'm not even mentioning that are crammed in there. So it's a bunch of stuff. There's a rifle sling. Added it all up, and it's all well over $300 worth of stuff. including, and just the electronic hearing protection, the cleaning kit, and the bag. I mean, those right there are worth, a bunch. So a lot of cool stuff in there.
A lot of cool stuff. And so what we did is we took the people that entered from Instagram and from Facebook, and it was a good deal for us. We got a lot more exposure out of it, and we want to thank everybody for entering.
Absolutely.
So our random drawing from Instagram and from Facebook was it was actually an Instagram winner, a follower. It is JMac_McMillan. So congratulations, JMac. I see his stuff all the time on Instagram. He's a good hog hunter up there, loves doing it, goes all over to hog hunting. So he is got a cool bag headed his way.
Good
so
deal.
we're gonna post that up and let him know that he won, and we're gonna be sending that his way. And I know he's going to get a lot of use out of it. So congratulations, J. McMillan.
All right, that's awesome.
You were the winner.
Very good. And Facebook, users, you were not left out. We just took all of the entries and just threw them in a hat, drew the number, and it just happened to be JMac from Instagram. But the Facebook guys had just the same chance, and so it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. I hope you all had some fun too, and I hope JMac enjoys all this gear. But speaking of Instagram contest, I had a little short impromptu contest today, and I like doing these. And this was on Instagram, just something again I threw up there. Instagram is good for these little short, quick contests because people seem to see it quicker. They can reply quicker. Facebook, it's like a lot of times people don't see the post for a day or two, and so it kind of gets drawn out. But on Instagram, it's kind of quick and easy to throw these up. And I did one today for guessing the hog weight, or the weight of a hog that I killed on, what night did I kill? That was a big boar.
2 nights ago, wasn't it?
Sunday night. I don't know. Whatever night it was. Sunday night, I killed that hog. And he was a big boar. And so I said, hey, you know what? We'll take some pics and we'll see if people can guess the weight on this. And so I want to congratulate the winner. It was, it's a funny name.
You're going to mess this up.
Una Mas Haas. I have no idea. I'm not good at Spanish. I think he wants one more something, but I think Haas is German. So I don't know, but I think his name's Cody. So Cody, shout out to you. I've already contacted him, letting him know he won a Outdoor Legacy cap as well as a koozie and stickers and stuff. So we'll get that sent out to him.
That's awesome.
Now, I really like doing these contests, and part of it is just because it's fun, it's quick and it's easy. Hey, guess the weight. And look, okay, hang on. I'm going to go off the reservation here. I know, but this is something we need to talk about. Please, the Late Night Vision Show podcast listeners, hear me closely. When we have contests, we want you to enter and we want you to win. But Hans can attest to this. Please read and follow the rules. I know sometimes it gets confusing. It's like tag this, do that, share what. But, just like in this contest today, the rules were simple. I thought they were simple. Tag one person on Instagram. Follow Outdoor Legacy. Guess the weight without going over.
See, I'm already confused.
See, I know. Come on, this is simple. Follow the show. Tag someone. Guess the weight without going over. And you'd be shocked. You would be shocked at how many people can. But
here's the thing. It's when I get an email and I read like the first two lines and they're like, hey, did you see that at the end? I'm like, no, I didn't make it down that far. I read the first 2 lines.
Exactly. No, so it is. But I laughed because, really, though, there was 2 people who would have won and that they didn't follow to the T. But we had some of that in the Facebook and Instagram users on the big giveaway. So just do better than me. Read the instructions. I mean, I don't ever do it, but you should. So, no.
Una Mas Haas was glad that they
That's exactly right. And he actually had a really good guess. But, speaking of this, back to what I was getting at there, it's a lot of fun, but I like to see what other people think that hogs weigh. And I will be the first to say that looking at a picture, I don't care if the hog's laying there. I don't care if the hog is standing up alive. I don't care if he's hanging like, my hog was in the picture from a tractor bucket. I don't care how you do it. It's hard to guess. It's if you're in person, it's hard enough. But if you are just looking at a picture, it's tough. And I don't mean that like, somebody's, makes it look big. They're sitting back behind it 10 feet. I just mean any kind of picture you take of a dead animal, especially a hog, it's really hard to tell, how long, how thick, how massive they are.
Yeah.
And what I know I've found over the years, and Hans, I'll let you speak to this and tell me if, what you think here, but it just seems like it's really easy to overestimate the size of a hog.
Well, so when you made that post today on Instagram to guess the weight, my comment was, for Instagram, that's a legit 325-pound hog, but in real life, you have to subtract 150 pounds.
Yeah, and for those who haven't seen it, if you go and you look, I mean, this was a big hog, and if you go look at the picture, just so you know, he was 200 pounds on the nose, and I took a picture of the scale that I posted up later to show that 200 pounds on the nose. There were over 18 hogs in that group. There were some big sows. There were shoats, piglets. They were all sizes, and he stood out as much larger than any pig in that pasture. And it was easy to tell that he was the boss hog, and he only weighed 200 pounds.
200. Well, he looked bigger than 200.
He did.
Especially when you hang it from a tractor. I mean, he looked 250 to me. But you know what, Jason? That is going to get us into our topic today, because our topic today is all about guessing hog weights and social media and all of that kind of stuff. And we have an epidemic right now on social media when it comes to guessing hog weights, because like Jason alluded to and spoke about, there's a lot of guesstimating going on out there. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't want to, we're not highlighting or pointing a finger at anybody specifically, right, because in the past I've tried to guess hog weights too. And pretty much now I've quit posting hog weights on any of the YouTube videos or on anything social media unless I've weighed a hog. And it's for that exact reason, because I always think something's bigger than it actually
and you're
is.
Trying to be conservative.
I'm trying to be conservative, and I don't want to say something that's not right. So I've really, unless I weigh it, if you see me post something the weight, I've put it on a scale. So this brings me to why we're talking about this. Last week, I called Jason from the field and said, "Man, I just shot a huge hog, and I'm going to measure him and see if he's aware." So when I say I'm going to measure him, there's something called the heart girth chart that's kind of been floating around hog hunting circles right now. It's basically where you get one of those soft fabric tape measures and you wrap it around their behind their front shoulders, wrap it around, and it measures all the way around their body behind the front shoulders. And there's a scale, so if it's 40 inches or 45 inches, there's some weights listed next to that measurement. And I got the tape measure out, I measured it, and it said he was 53 inches around. And, that's pulling it tight and everything. And I called Jason. I was like, "Man, I've got a monster hog, and it's 53 inches around around the front part of his body." And the scale, if you go by the scale or go by the
chart,
measurement chart, the chart, it said it would be 325 pounds. And I just knew I didn't know if he was weighed that much, but I knew he was a very big hog. A barrel chested, big old head on him. And so what I did, thinking that he was something that needed to be weighed, I drug him all the way back to my trailer. I rolled him up the ramp by myself.
You broke a tusk off of this big old hog doing this.
I broke one of his cutters off that got stuck in the ramp of the trailer. I rolled him uphill into that thing. I mean, I was beat. My old butt was puckered up, everything else, trying to get this hog in this trailer. And finally, I drove all the way back home, pulled up to the scales, hooked him up on the scales, and raised him up. And that next call to Jason
was great. Because look, okay, hang on. I want to interject here before you tell him what he weighed. So, Hans called, and I actually had a buddy over, and so I had him on speakerphone, and we were listening. And man,
That
it
made
was
it
the
worse.
best. He's sending pictures from the field. I mean, legit. I'm like, that's a huge hog. I mean, that is a legit huge boar. Oh my goodness. Now, anytime I hear 300, I'm kind of scratching my head, but I'm like, weigh that thing up. I mean, he's big. So when he called back, I knew when I heard his tone of voice, it was gonna be glorious that we were gonna get a laugh out of
Yeah.
this. So what happened?
Well, I called Jason. I said the first thing I said, Jason, was, "Man, I'm embarrassed."
Uh,
I I I measured that hog 53 inches. He should have been somewhere around 325 pounds based on the chart, and that's plus or minus, I think, 10 to 20 pounds. So if it had been a 300-pound hog, that'd been great. That hog weighed 230 pounds.
that's 30%
And
off for the record.
30%
30%.
off. And the reason, so we're not singling any people out, any groups of people about
No.
guessing weights and putting it on social media, because I've done it in the past and I've been off. But we notice a lot that there's a lot of people out there that post pictures with hogs and they're guessing weights, and we know that those hogs probably aren't as big. It's almost like a fishing story,
Exactly.
So, and the heart rate Girth chart or whatever that's been floating around, it's something that I've used in the past. To me, it's not like it's the Bible or anything, when it comes to weight, but I have used it in the past, and that's how I decide if something's worth weighing or not weighing. But man, for it to be 100 pounds off, and it only weighing 230 pounds, I could have. Well, I put that picture on Instagram. I didn't put the weight or anything. I just said it was a big hog, and I had people on there thinking, "Wow, that's got to be a 300-pound hog." That's and it wasn't. It wasn't anywhere close to a 300-pound hog. So it shows you how skewed our judgment is when it comes to looking at a hog and
It is.
guessing
It's
the weight.
deceiving. And, to be honest, if you think about it, if you know much about weights of other animals, if you're familiar with what a calf will weigh, or what a small horse will weigh, it's pretty amazing hogs weigh as much as they do. I mean, my daughter has got a pony that is 42 inches tall at the shoulder. I mean, it's a decent sized pony. And I mean, you look at this thing. He's got long legs. He's, grass fed, big around the belly. And you look at that animal, and we carried him to the vet a while back, and they walked him across the scale, and he weighed 351 pounds. And so I'm going, I can get on this thing. I mean, this is a horse, and he weighs 350 pounds.
Right.
And so to me, it's amazing that you can get a 300-pound hog. I mean, that, and you look at a 300-pound, 400-pound, calf, like that's a big animal. So hogs are pretty amazing in as dense as they are, to not be that tall, that they can actually weigh that much. But I'm just going to tell you, look, I'm not picking on anybody. Like Hans said, this really isn't about anybody in particular. It's just in general. And I understand if you got a hog and you want to make some kind of guesstimation of what he weighs, I totally understand it. But it seems like the problem is that the amount that most people are off, is a percentage that would be unacceptable in any other sport on the face of the earth. I mean, take fishing. Okay, so
Right.
there's all the, okay. For instance, let's just say that hog that weighs 230, and you think he may be 330. Okay, that's 30%. So what if the guy catches a 3-pound bass, puts the picture up, and says, "Look at this 9-pound bass," or or whatever it is. It's a 6-pound. That would
Yeah.
never go. That wouldn't. People would be like,
Right.
"You got to be kidding me! You can't. No way." And so I think
Well,
we accept it because it is. It's hard to weigh hogs. You got to load them up if you're not at your own place, if you don't have scales to go weigh them, and it's just really honestly not worth it most of the time. I
it isn't. It isn't, and that's why I wait to see if it's a weigher or not. I don't weigh every single one, and That's the.
Well, I was just going to say, I
Go
weighed,
ahead.
again, I hunt almost exclusively, or at least most of the time, on my own property. And normally, I've got a tractor, or I've got tractors here. So normally, if a hog falls in my pasture, if he runs off in the woods, he's in the woods. He's on his own. Coyotes can eat him there. But if he falls in the pasture, I'm going to go get my tractor and I'm going to haul him off. So it's easy for me then just to bring the scales down there. I'm already going to haul him off. Let's see what he weighs. So, last year I weighed a lot of hogs. I don't know how many I weighed here on my place, 30 or 40 at least that I hung up and said, let's see what these things weigh. And, almost every time I was just, going, oh, yep, he's less than I thought. And after enough, I started getting good at it. I started, okay, it's going to weigh this. Because you've seen enough on the scales, and even still you get fooled. But I just think that, everybody, we all want to guess, and it's fun to do. But when you're putting out pictures, again, if you're guessing on my hog, looking at a picture, hey, you can guess 400 pounds because who knows. But when it's your own hog, and it's just, sometimes it's embarrassing, and guys like, it's a 350-pound hog, and I'm looking at it and going, he wouldn't weigh 170 pounds soaking wet,
Well, I think it just, and the whole reason of talking about this is talking about how rare a 300-pound hog actually is to get. It's not very common. If you look at social media, though, very often with hog hunting circles, it's happening all the time,
yeah.
And people guessing. So, I think, Jason, I think what we need to do to eliminate all this is we just not post pictures with hogs with guesstimates, and we just break it down into, 4 classifications. You can put, hey, I got a small hog, I got a medium-sized hog, a large hog, or a monster.
Yeah, but they'd all be monsters. Those piglets would be that one in each hand. I got 2 monsters, one for each of you.
No. It's better than than everybody shooting a 300-pound hog every week. But they really are rare. When somebody says they shot a 300-pound hog and they actually weighed it and it's legit, that's a very uncommon thing to get.
I've only killed one hog that was legitimately 300 pounds, and I've killed a lot of hogs, and I've killed several hogs that weighed on the scales 275 to 285. Now, not a lot of hogs, but several hogs. That 275 to 285, then dropping down a few in that 250 to 260. But the vast majority just seem to come in. We're talking about boars,
right.
Because a lot of times a sow, the only way she's going to weigh that much is if she's bred and really big. But so speaking about boars, they're normally going to come in that 150 to 225 range on the high end. I can count on one hand the number of hogs that I've killed over 260 probably. But talking about your small hogs and big hogs and medium hogs and whatever, I think we should go and go to the small hogs, because I think that my hashtag, the small hog lives matter, I think that, and if you don't know what that is, I've got a YouTube video about it, and it's a little humorous, but I think that the small hogs get discriminated against all the time, and I don't think it's right. So I think we need to shoot more small hogs.
Shoot more small hogs. That's exactly right. So hey, shooting a hog, whether it's big or small, it's a great thing. It doesn't matter what size it is. Let's like I said, we're not pointing any fingers at anybody. If anything, kind of pointing it at ourselves, because we've all done it in the past with trying to guess weights. And but you will only get good at guessing weights if you are weighing a lot of hogs. That's the way that you're going to get way you're going to get good at it. So let's put those hogs on the scale. If we won't put the hogs on the scale, then just say, hey, it's a large hog or medium hog or whatever, and then we'll let us goofuses on social media try to guess it ourselves. So
exactly, that's right. No, hey, but seriously, it's fun. We know we're all guessing, we're all having fun with it, and I think the hog guessing contest, once you put them on the scales, is a lot of fun. But I think looking at the guesses shows a lot, because even I've seen guys that'll post a trail cam picture of a live hog, and they'll say, what's he weigh? And the guesses go from 120 to 420. And it's like, wow, that's a big difference.
So,
That's right. Well, I want to bring up another topic, and this is something that, again, I'm not doing this to bash anybody or anything like that, but I'm hearing this from potential customers a lot. That guys that are calling me, asking questions, getting emails, and I see it on the forums a lot of times. And I think this is something that you and I have talked about in the past, and I want to bring this up, and that is realistic shooting distances for nighttime hunting, whether it be hogs or coyotes. And this is something that I'm trying to, again, we're not here to bash anybody or anything like that, but I think that there is some probably, confusion and misunderstanding from guys who haven't night hunted a lot. And they're just, they're not really aware of how far they can shoot, whether it's, digital night vision or thermal, and, different quality scopes are going to allow you to shoot, different distances. But I want to just talk about this because I actually think sometimes there could be some safety issues that come into some of these, shooting distances. And I know Hans and I, again, have talked in the past about, kind of what's realistic in this area.
Yeah, when fielding questions and phone calls, sometimes, really when you're trying to decide on a thermal, you kind of want to find out from whoever's interested, what are your average shooting distances that you're taking right now? And, a lot of times you'll hear, 50 to 100 yards, but sometimes you get people that want to shoot hogs anywhere from 30 yards to 300 yards, or coyotes, at the long distances. And I'm going to tell you, if you're taking a 300 or 400 yard shot with a thermal, my goodness, that's that. I don't know if I would even get close to attempting a long shot like that with a thermal.
And I want to say, yeah, exactly. I want to just butt in here real quick and say that I've got a customer, and I don't know if he listens to the podcast or not, but he's a good customer of mine, and he bought a FLIR Thermosight Pro PTS 736. It is a 6-power scope. It got extremely high magnification, and you can definitely, at 300 yards, it looks like you can dot a coyote in the eye. It is just a lot of magnification on that 736, and this guy is a long-range shooter in the daytime. This is what he does. He is very legitimate. They shoot extremely long distances. They do contests. They do lots of prairie dog hunting. A lot of daytime long-range hunting, not just shooting, but hunting. Because I want to make the point here, shooting a still target and shooting an animal are two different things. Doesn't mean that, that's not a knock on the still target guys, but I'm just saying this guy does a lot of hunting. Right. And so he bought this 736, and he said, I want to reach out there and touch some stuff, and I want to see what I can do. And he's actually done it. He sent me some pictures. He sent me some videos. And this guy, they legitimately went out there and they did some long-range predator hunting, and it was really impressive. And they were on a farm where they knew it was actually a crop field they were in. There was nothing else in there. This area didn't have any other kind of animals, cows, deer, anything else it could be. They knew if they saw it, they had the legal right to shoot it, and there wasn't going to be danger. And with that 736, he was actually able to pull off some pretty amazing shots. But to me, he is the exception to the rule on a lot of these shots. And I know that just talking to a lot of hog and coyote hunters that are, nighttime thermal and night vision guys, it is rare for me to talk to one who really hunts a lot and regularly shoots over 250 yards.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. In your expert opinion, Mr. Thermal guy, Mr. Night Vision guy, what's a realistic shooting range as far as how far you're going to push that out? What would you suggest to somebody that is wanting to shoot hogs, coyotes, and what's the safest distance that you would tell them that they could actually ID and drop an animal with a thermal?
Well,
or
I get
digital?
this. I get this question, and as usual, I'm not going to answer that with a simple one word. And here's the reason why. That distance with a $1,900 Pulsar Core RXQ30V, a great little entry level scope, or the PTS 233 from FLIR, the distance that I'm going to give you for that is probably going to be different than a Thermosight Pro 536 4 power, or the 736 6 power, or so that varies. But I can say, generally speaking, if someone is new to night hunting and thermal, and I say new, I mean you haven't done it a whole lot, I'm just going to say 200 yards.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you can't shoot further than 200 yards? No. I think 200 yards is a long shot at night. I think that it can be done. I think it can be safely done in a lot of situations. I think there's times you can't shoot 200 yards safely. I mean, I do. I told this story. I might have told it on this podcast. And if I have, I'm sorry, I'll tell it again, because it's worth it. But I have been present and watched 3 experienced nighttime thermal and night vision hunters. One of the guys was a champion coyote caller, and I have watched. Well, now, by the way, we're talking about using, $3,000 to $5,000 scopes. Mistake a deer bedded down at 150, 175 yards for a coyote, and nearly made a very costly error. And I'm telling you something, it shook everybody in the group up, because there could have been a dead deer laying out there, and it looked just like a coyote to everybody in that group. Now, it wasn't moving because it was a deer laying down, but you could see it's what looked to be its back and its head on a pivot spinning around when we're trying to call this thing in. And I know there's guys that are listening to this going, well, that's dumb, and I would never make that mistake. I'm telling you something, it looked like a coyote. And you know what part of that was? We had coyote on the brain. We'd been seeing them all night long. We'd been chasing them all over, and they would pop up out of this grass, and boom, there they are. And so, I know that's part of it, but I just think you got to be very, very careful. And, there's a story, and I didn't look this up before the show or anything, but I believe it happened last year, could have been the year before, but I'm pretty sure it was last year, that, boy, I'm going to butcher this because I don't remember all the details. I wanted to say it was maybe in one of the Carolinas, but I think you'll remember this, Hans, that a lady was hunting, and I think another man had permission to be on the same property, and I don't know the exact details. I don't know if we ever found out. I mean, I think he was on the ground or doing something. She shot and killed him with a thermal scope and thought he was a hog. And it wasn't at that far. I mean, she made the mistake. Right. She shot and killed this guy and videoed it. I mean, I don't know how much worse that could, possibly make this, but she videoed it. She was let off, because it was, an accident, but she misidentified him. Now, I know you go, well, there's nobody on my place crawling around out there, and I get that. I do. No, that there shouldn't be. But again, I just think that long range, look, here's the deal. Let's just break this down. Shooting 250 yards in the daylight for a good shooter, sure, you can do it. I think once you get out there to that 300-yard range, I think it takes some experience. I think you need to know your rifle. I think you need to know your ammo. You need to know a lot of things, but sure, it can be done. 400 yards, okay, there's going to be less people that can do it. 500 yards, man, we're stretching it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And, maybe if I get on the bench with the right rifle and all the right conditions and somebody telling me and helping me, sure, I'm sure we all could in those conditions. But the number of people that I talk to in a week that tell me that they intend to shoot 400 to 500 yards at night is astonishing. And again, I'm not calling these guys out and saying that they're unethical or they're ignorant. We're just trying to educate people and say, hey, this is probably not realistic in normal conditions. Doesn't mean you can't do it, but even if you can, it doesn't mean that you always should. And I'm not saying that there's not some realistic reason for it. You know, you've got this coyote that you've been calling in, and he hangs up and he gets hung out there and he runs back out to, 300 yards and stops, and you're mad and you want to take a Hail Mary at him. Hey, you know what? It's your bullets. Go ahead. Your ammo. Right. That's probably not the end of the world, but generally I'd say, man, try to get within a couple hundred yards of them, and it's a whole lot more fun. I mean, the closer you get, the more fun it is anyway.
Right. Well, I'm glad you said 200 yards because I was going to say that too. And I don't think, like you said, unless it's a Hail Mary, I'm not going to try to shoot at a hog over 200 yards and do nothing but just piss it off and have it run off, But yeah, I would agree with you. 200 yards is probably realistic. Anything up to that point, other than that. And I have been in positions where you see a deer and it does from a long distance away. It does look a little bit like a coyote, and I always try to hold off as long as I can and make for sure, double check. I'd rather pass on it than make a mistake.
Well, I'll tell you something else too. I mean, you put a deer in any kind of grass that's hadn't been grazed down hard. So you put it in 12, 14-inch tall grass, and it puts its head down. I can tell you what it looks like. It looks like a hog, because all you can see is its back. And a rounded back where it goes down, and where its neck goes down to the grass, that looks like a hog head. And I can just tell you, that's exactly what it looks like. Now, once it raises its head up, you can go, oh, man, yeah, I can see that long neck. That's a deer. Can't be a hog. But, I mean, there's been multiple times that I've looked out there across my pasture when the grass is tall, can't see underneath it. You can't see its legs. And you go, oh, man, there's a big hog out there. And then, you wait a minute and he sticks his head up and you go, oh, that's not a hog. So I would just say, and one more quick thing I would say. I don't know about you, Hans, and I mean, I may call you out here, but out of all the hunting I've done, I would say I can't think. I mean, I'm going to rack my brain here a minute, but I can't think of a shot I've taken at a hog or a coyote in the last, I don't know, let's just say 2 years. I can't think of one that I took at over maybe 150 yards, maybe 175 if they were already running away after I'd shot at them. Yeah. I mean, the first shot, the original first shot, 125 to 150, that's the farthest I can think of.
Yeah. I don't like taking shots that far. I have killed some recently around 140, 150 yards, and they were running, but I don't like shooting that far. I just, it's one of those things you start shooting and you start running off. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. But so we appreciate you joining us this week. We're talking a little bit about guessing hog weights, and also with realistic shooting ranges. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We gave all the information, but please follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can email us at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com. You can call us at 903-833-4461. Jason and I appreciate you joining us this week, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Y'all take care. We'll see you next week.